What you guys, is this the end of my YouTube channel? That's what we're going to be talking about today. I got a warning from YouTube. It's basically a active community strike from YouTube themselves. Now the strike was for how to install Windows 11 25H2 on a 10-year-old PC. So of course I thought it was just an AI strike, so I appealed and they rejected the appeal by a person looking at the video and saying it does come under the harmful or dangerous content policy which they have in place on their platform. I explained to them how is installing Windows 11 a harmful or even dangerous content policy. I explained to them I've done similar videos to this before and it's been perfectly fine, and there is literally thousands upon thousands of videos on YouTube doing exactly the same thing. I asked them to explain exactly what the fault was and how is it harmful or dangerous, and could you explain? And of course, YouTube being YouTube, are just vague. They don't tell you exactly what you did wrong. They point you to a link that says basically view this video and view your content and find out yourself what you did wrong. They won't tell you, and this then led into a bit of a panic because I explained to them that I have tons of videos about how to do things on Windows, and if you're saying that this is harmful or dangerous, then maybe I'm going to get struck for other videos, and that could be the end of my channel. Now, I was talking to another YouTuber who does similar content, and he was literally going through the same thing I'm going through right now, and he got a few strikes on his channel, and he had one more strike and his channel would have been terminated. Now, let me be clear here. If they're not being clear about what you've done wrong, then how are you supposed to rectify it? I said you're going to send me into a panic and start deleting similar videos on my channel thinking they could get strikes on them. And this could end up me deleting a hell of a lot of content. And that's just not acceptable. It seems they target certain people at certain times and they get strikes for no apparent reason. I explained to them that there is tons of channels that are releasing the same content, and their response was they look at channels individually and they will be dealt with individually. So again, some of these channels have uploaded these videos and they've been up for many years and they haven't had any issues. If they don't pinpoint the problem and tell you exactly what you've done wrong, then how are you going to correct it, and how are you going to stop doing that in the future? This is how we're taught in school. It seems that YouTube doesn't want to tell you exactly what you've done wrong, and basically you've just got to guess, and this is exactly what's happening. And of course it's going to affect my channel if I get struck again. And if you go on YouTube and look for Windows 11 unsupported hardware, you'll see there is videos up there with Windows 11 25H2 unsupported hardware, and they've been uploaded recently, got a good load of views, and it's the sort of content that I make on my channel. I don't just make this particular topic, I do other topics. But now you're talking about, and because they're saying it's harmful or dangerous content that I'm putting up there, well, going into the registry is dangerous and harmful. It can be, if you don't know what you're doing. Running a script or going into command prompt could be deemed harmful or dangerous. Where do we draw the line? Because let me tell you, there is videos up on YouTube, say from Mr. Beast, being buried alive. I explained that to them and I said, and you're telling me that that is okay, being buried underground, and he's actually making videos on it. Maybe parkour, jumping off of buildings and jumping off of cranes and climbing up really high buildings. You're influencing people to follow suit, and they're saying that that's not harmful and dangerous, but making a video on how to install Windows is. Now, I had to contact them via this chat and customer support icon right up here. I'm not going to open it, but you can talk in there with a so-called person, but they act very bot-like, and it says AI on the actual description there. It says something about AI and you'll be talking there. The responses are just so like AI-like. They don't actually respond like a human, and it's like they're just pushing auto response buttons to give you a response to your question. And the answers you get are so far from what you want to hear that you just end up being more confused than ever before. So I was asking for clarity on what I did wrong, and they go, I understand your concern. I understand this is a difficult time for you right now. It's like trying to avoid answering your questions. Meanwhile, I'm panicking that I could be struck on other videos that I've made on my channel. Are they making a change to their policies? I really don't know, because they don't tell you anything. And of course, being on a platform like YouTube, I've been doing this since 2009. I explained to them that I used to have a partner program where I could talk to someone and get this sold very, very quickly. But now I'm having to go through this chat window here because they kicked me out of that for some reason after all of the service that I've given them over these years. Now, I'm very grateful for YouTube for giving me a good platform to put videos on, to teach people how to do things, and I've done pretty well out of it. But unfortunately, their support is not that great, and it just leaves you worrying more and more about some of the content you have on your channel. Now, you might be saying, well, don't upload that type of content. Well, if I don't show people, say, how to install Windows, maybe they forgot to back up their data and they overwrite all their data. That is not my fault, but that could be deemed harmful and dangerous because now they've lost all their data. There is channels on YouTube that are a dangerous type of content. Yes, it's science, maybe electrics. I've seen a guy making big sparks and putting his finger on it and all sorts of stuff like that. I'm not going to pinpoint his channel in here because I don't think it's fair. And I think he's an educational channel, but it is dangerous. And yet, them videos seem to be okay for the platform, and yet installing Windows 11 is not. And to have my appeal rejected after a human being has looked at it and said it is harmful or dangerous begs belief. It really does, because it's such a grey area. They seem to deem some stuff harmful and dangerous, and there's stuff on there which is dangerous, like being buried alive, which I would say is dangerous because you're putting a load of soil on top of you that could cave in, you could suffocate. There's all sorts of things that can happen. But hey, it's got 360 million views. That's okay. But installing Windows is dangerous all of a sudden. Now, like I said, I've got tons of videos on how to do things. And now I'm thinking, oh, maybe that one's a bit dodgy, or maybe that one's a bit dodgy, and maybe I should start deleting these videos, some of these. And, you know, you could worry yourself sick. I reported someone yesterday for giving me threats online, literally threatening me, saying they were going to come to my property and stand in front of me and see what I've got to say. I reported that as a threat, and you know what? Nothing happened. I was talking inside the same chat window, and it was like talking to an AI bot. It really was. And I said, are you human or are you a AI bot? And they said, oh, I'm 100% human. It's ridiculous. It really is. And I can tell you that person's channel is still up, and that person may have got a strike. They may not have got a strike. But if we're going to be allowed to threaten people online, which that person was, and literally they've done nothing about it, and if they have done something about it, I've not been notified that they've done something about it. I've explained to them that I have grandchildren here, and sometimes my wife is on her own with those grandchildren. I do not want someone turning up at my property when I'm not here. I see that as a serious threat. And they're talking about reporting spam on my channel, which is obviously a response from an AI bot, and yet they're saying they are human. And it isn't human, it is literally a bot that you're talking to. And that is the frustrating part. You're not actually talking to a human being. And if they are human, then the responses are automated and they are already pre-designed on what they're going to respond with, because they are not literally responding in a way a proper human being would with a general concern. So could my channel disappear? Yes, it could. And if my channel is in danger of that, then so is your channel if you're making similar content. This is just an awareness video to remind people how vulnerable you are on YouTube. Now, the only other thing it could be is the sponsor of my video, which I put in that video. And if that is the case, then there is going to be a ton of other channels going through the same problem, because there's lots of people promoting that same sort of sponsorship. But without knowing or being told exactly what it is, you would never know, so you can't correct it. And that's the problem. And if I did another one with that sponsorship deal in there, I could end up getting struck again, because that might be the harmful or dangerous content policy. And that leaves you just guessing on what you think it is that's caused you to get a strike. Now, it does say here, content that describes how to get unauthorized or free access to audio or audio-visual content, software, subscription services, or games that usually require payment isn't allowed on YouTube. So that's what is on there, but is that what they're pointing to? I really don't know, because I haven't evolved into being a mind reader just yet, and it might take a few more thousand years before that actually happens. So hopefully I will eventually learn how to mind read, and I will be able to solve this problem. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, because I really want to understand and I really want to fix this issue, but without knowing, I'm just sort of guessing. And the guessing game is not really good to play on YouTube, because you can end up deleting a bunch of content that you don't need to delete because the content is perfectly fine. Until they tell you exactly what it is, you're just going to be banging your head against the wall. And then you'll probably be flagged for that, for harmful and dangerous content. You got to laugh because you'll go insane. I tell you, YouTube is really, really difficult sometimes. And today is one of those days. YouTube is not like the old days. I'm seem to be making more and more content to try and keep my channel afloat. But unfortunately, when other people are making very similar content and just getting like 100,000 views, no problem at all, it really is frustrating. Sometimes people are just literally mimicking the content I'm making and getting more views than what I'm getting. And I barely make 5,000 views, and I'm an 880,000 subscriber channel. It's crazy. Anyway, with that said, I'm starting to ramble and rant. And I'm just going to cool down a little bit because I'm pretty stressed out. And if I make something tomorrow, you'll see it go up. If not, I might take a break a bit and see. I'll sleep on it and see how I feel. Anyway, with that said, I think that's going to be about it for this one, guys. Take it easy, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.